Hi, I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. I am standing on a yoga mat, but if you are without one, just find an area in your house that's got some carpeting. Or maybe you've got a rug a little bit like this one. Not a rug that's going to slip underneath you, out from underneath you. Not something you're going to go surfing on. But something that's sturdy and will provide you with a little bit of padding. I have 2 yoga blocks. If you are without yoga blocks, a great substitute would be 2 thick books. And I have at the ready a folded blanket here on my couch next to my sleeping dog that I can use to pad my knees if I want to, or sit upon. I often take the pillows off my couch to sit on as almost a bolster. So be creative. Use the things in your home that help this practice to feel the best it can be. We'll start with our feet hip distance facing the short edge of your mat. And if you don't have a mat, just use your imagination. Stir the air away in circles in front of you, as if you were in water, almost doing the breaststroke. And then from your shoulder joint, turn your palms away from each other. Let that uplift your heart. Put a little soft bend into your knees. We are constructing our mountain pose. It's the foundational pose of all poses. And if you think of it, this is the pose that you actually do in real life the most. Your chin is parallel to the ground. We're essentially establishing beautiful posture. And every inhale grows us tall. Every exhale glues us, roots us into the ground. Let's just take a moment to land where we are. If you're able to take both your inhales and your exhales through your nose, that's ideal. But mostly just breathe. We'll inhale our arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V, and then we'll just float our arms on our exhale along our sides, palms face out. Twice more. Inhale, V shape, thumbs to the sky. Exhale, float your arms along your sides, palms face out. And then last time, inhale, V shape, and exhale, arms along your sides. Adding more. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Take your hands to your thighs for a moment. Press into your thighs and feel how that gives you some traction to lengthen your spine. If you can keep your spine this long and slide your hands a little lower, that's fine, but it's not a goal. It's just a little bit lower. Our goal is to keep that length in our spine and make it a hinge at our hips. Maybe your hands go all the way to your ankles, but again, not a goal. Now we'll inhale and slide our hands up, maybe even back up to our thighs. Then we'll exhale and slide our hands down, but stay with that length in our spine. And then inhale, rise, reach thumbs to the sky, a V. Stand in your mountain, palms facing out. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V shape, and then exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs or shins or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale, lengthen your spine, and this time bend your knees as deeply as you need to get your palms flat on the ground. And once your palms are flat, push the ground away and walk back into our first down dog. You're pushing into the earth. Step your feet as wide as your mat. Lift your hips as if you had a hook in your tailbone. And then enjoy all this space that when you push into the ground and lift your hips up, you can make on your front body, back body, and side body. We'll walk our feet forward to our hands. We're hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Slide your hands down, exhale. Inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, a V, and then we stand in our mountain with our palms facing out. Adding more. Inhale, V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to thighs, shins, or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale. Bend your knees as deeply as you need to, palms flat. Push the ground away, step to down dog. Maybe your feet are hip distance now, but if it felt better to have more space, step them wide. And we'll just shift shoulders over wrists into a plank position. Find the hook in your tailbone and go back to down dog. Again, shift shoulders over wrists into our plank, and then our hips lift us up and back to down dog. One more time, shoulders over wrists, oomph into your arms, and then use your tailbone to take you to down dog. Walk your feet forward to your hands. We're hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Glide your hands down, exhale. And then inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky. We stand in our mountain with our palms facing out. We'll add still more. Inhale, V shape, and exhale, hinge. Hands to thighs, shins, or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale. Bend your knees deeply, palms flat, down dog. Push the ground away, right away. And then come to plank, shoulders over wrists, and this time bring your knees to your mat like a kickstand. Not quite all fours, a little further back. I don't want to collapse in between your shoulder blades, so push the ground away and continue to do that as you lower to your belly. Once you're on your belly, uncurl your toes and bring your arms into a sphinx pose, so forearms parallel to the long edges of your mat. Press into the tops of your feet until your kneecaps lift, and traction your elbows towards you so your chest is moving through the gateway of your arms. Let's remember this recipe. Lower down, bring our hands next to our ribs, not winging elbows out, but bringing elbows close to our bodies, and just see if cobra or sphinx feels better to us. We'll lower down, curl our toes under. In one chunk, we come to all fours, and then we lift our hips up like the hook is in our tailbone for down dog. And we will walk forward, feet to our hands, hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Slide your hands down, exhale. Inhale, rise, reach thumbs to the sky, and then we stand with our palms facing out. Let's flow. Inhale, V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs, shins, or ankles. Slide your hands up, inhale, bend your knees, palms flat, step to down dog, pushing that ground away. Then we come to plank, shoulders over wrists, and bring our knees down. Push the ground away as you lower to your belly. And when you uncurl your toes on your belly, either keep your hands where they are for cobra or make it sphinx pose. Then we lower down and curl our toes under and come through all fours in one chunk. The hook in our tailbone takes us to down dog. And then from down dog, walk your feet forward to your hands where hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale, and then hinge and fold, exhale. We rise, reach, inhale, thumbs to the sky, and we stand in our mountain, palms facing out. Great. We'll step wide, and you'll want to move your props. So take your 2 blocks or your thick books and place them on the long edge of your mat. So off the side, not on your mat, but off the sides of your mat. And then the opposite long edge of your mat will become the front of your mat, if you will. Start by taking your arms wide, and with your thumbs to the sky, step your ankles underneath your wrists. It's a good starting point, and from here we will refine. So turn your right leg out so that your right foot is facing the short front edge of your mat, and then cheat your left heel at a 45-degree angle. Bend your front knee. What we don't want is that right knee to go forward of your ankle. You want a vertical line. So for me, I'm going to need to scoot my right foot forward a bit. Arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky. Now take your right arm up to the sky and pat yourself on the back with that right hand. And then turn your left thumb down and take the back of your left hand to the small of your back. So it's almost like you're trying to reach and shake hands with yourself. For a moment, straighten that front leg, and let's refine what's happening in our arms. So you're patting yourself on the back with your right hand, and your left arm is reaching up your back maybe, or just back of your hand to the small of your back. What we don't want is a struggle where you're collapsing that elbow into your head. So keep your elbow behind your back, and then you'll bend your front knee and keep the arm positioning, and we'll pause here. You're hugging your right hip underneath you, and we stay for 3 moments. Slide your left hand so that it's behind your back. Take your right arm up to the sky, and now take your right forearm across your right thigh. with a half bind in your left arm. You're tractioning your right elbow onto your right thigh and turning your ribs towards the sky a little bit here. We're not here much longer. I know it's been a while. We'll stay and breathe for 3 moments. And then bring yourself upright, thumbs to the sky in our original Warrior Two position. Straighten that front leg, lower your arms, and turn all toes to face the long edge of your mat. We'll have a little respite before our second side. Start by turning your left leg out so that your left foot faces that short edge of your mat. Cheat your right heel at a 45-degree angle, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky, and then bend your left knee. Always a good idea to check and make sure that you've got that vertical line from your left knee to your left ankle. Take your left arm up to the sky, pat yourself on the back with that left hand, turn your right thumb to face down, back of your right hand to the small of your back, and then let's straighten our front leg for a moment and refine our arm positioning. So remember, you're not collapsing your chin to your chest by using that top arm. So just do the best that you can to pat yourself on the back there, and back of your right hand to the small of your back is a great idea. Let's bend our front knee and head back to Warrior Two position with our arms here. And we're hugging that left hip underneath us now. Think of your right thigh bone pressing into your hamstring. And then from here, left arm to the sky, slide your right hand behind your back and take a karate chop of your left forearm onto your thigh. We're not crumbled into that left shoulder, so you want to keep that traction of your left forearm, and then rotate your left ribs to the sky. 2 moments here. Bring yourself upright to our original Warrior Two position, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky, and then straighten that front leg. Turn all your toes to face that long edge of your mat, and now we will be using the 2 books and blocks that we placed. Turn your right leg out. Let that right foot face the short edge of your mat. Cheat your left heel at a 45-degree angle and take your arms wide out to the side. We're not bending at the waist. We want a hip hinge. So this left hip lifts up. It's like there's a karate chop being performed in your right hip. And as you reach out, you'll place your hand on your block or book on the outside of your right foot. Take your top arm, your left arm, turn your thumb to face down, and then wrap that top arm behind your back like we just did with a bent front leg, but now we're doing that with our right leg straight. When I say straight, I don't mean locked out, so a little soft bend is a great idea. Your left hand can feel your right ribs here. Every inhale, grow a little longer. And every exhale, just turn those right ribs a little bit more towards the sky. We'll soak in a little silence here. 3 moments in our half-bound triangle pose. Now, to come out of this, start to bend your right knee a bit, free your left arm, thumb to the sky, move your props off to the side. It's a brief moment in Warrior Two, and then straighten that front leg and turn all of your toes to face the long edge of your mat. Both heels turn in, arms out to the side wide, either a fist bump behind your back or a prayer behind your back. So feel free to make it a fist bump. If a prayer happens, that's great too. And what we don't want is a collapse. So allow your chest to open and your breath to be steady here. We have a few moments as we are. Slowly straighten your legs, turn your toes forward, slide your hands down, and then from your left hip, turn your left foot to face the short edge of your mat. Cheat your right heel at a 45-degree angle, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky. Not a side bend. We want to think of that hip hinge, so imagine a karate chop in your left hip, and then you'll reach way out with that left hand and find your book or your block on the outside of your left hand, of your left foot, pardon me, and then just turn your top arm, that right arm, thumb to face down, and weave that right arm behind your back. Your inner upper arms can spin away from each other, so you're making this a spacious adventure, and you're pressing your left big toe mound into your mat to let that leg straighten without feeling like it's locked out. Every inhale, grow a little longer and really feel that karate chop to your left hip. And every exhale, rotate those left ribs towards the sky. And like we did on our first side, I'll give you a little silence to soak in this side of your half-bound triangle. To come out of this, free your right arm up to the sky, take a peek down, bend your left knee and move your block off the side of your mat, and then straighten both legs and turn all toes to face that front edge. Once again, heels in, toes out, a little plie, arms out to the side, and then both thumbs face down, and it's either a fist bump behind your back, or you might build out a prayer behind your back. We pause a few moments in our little goddess pose, it's called, and we're trying not to stick our butt way out behind us. So find a place where you can settle into it. 3 more moments. Then you'll straighten your legs and turn all toes to face that long edge of your mat. Carefully slide your hands down and take an interlace behind your back. If this is tight, hold a kitchen towel in between your hands. Give yourself a little bit of extra space. Same idea as when we spoke in triangle. This is sort of a straight-legged forward fold, but I want a little bit of a soft bend. We hinge at our hips, and we just take our arms up and over. That extra space of your kitchen towel might come in very handy here. If you need a little bit more bend to your knees, no worries. A few moments here. Then place your hands on your hips. If you've got a kitchen towel, just let it drop off to the side, and we'll firm our bellies, come up to standing. And once we're standing, heel toe, till your hip distance, and then we will move ourselves back to the front edge of our mat, and we can take our props and do a little housekeeping to move those with us. And off to the side. Facing that short edge of your mat, you've got your feet hip distance apart in that mountain pose again, and then inhale, arms up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to thighs, shins or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale. Palms go flat, and we step it to down dog. We're pushing the ground away actively. Come to a plank position, and then bring your knees down on your mat. Keep pushing the ground away as we lower to our bellies. We will come into a cobra or a sphinx pose, uncurling our toes, and then lower down, curl your toes under in one chunk, come to all fours, and stay on all fours. Now, I'm going to turn so that you can see me a little bit more easily on hands and knees this way, because there's a couple different ways that you can fashion what we're up to next. The first way, for all of us, is that we want to know what shoulders over wrists means. So that means hands not too far forward and not too far back. And the first option is right hand, right knee, left foot on the middle line of your mat with your left hand on your hip, and this might be perfect. So stay here if that's the best option. Maybe left arm reaches to the sky. It's possible that you oomph into your right hand and scissor, sliding this right leg out so that you're on the outside of your right foot and inside of your left foot. For many of us, that right knee down on the ground is going to be the better way to go. Let's do the best we can to lift our hips up buoyantly and stay for just a couple moments. And then if you scissored your feet, just bring that right knee down, bring your left knee down and your left hand down, and we're on all fours. And then let's kneel and shake our wrists out. Give them a little break. On all fours for our second side. Remember, shoulders over wrists, really important. Left hand, left knee, right foot, all on the middle line of your mat. Right hand on your hip. This is perfect. You can have those left toes curled under. You can always pad your knee on the ground with your folded blanket from your couch, or maybe you've got a towel that you prefer. Right arm can reach up to the sky. Maybe for some of us, the outer edge of our left foot scissors. We've got to be buoyant lifting our hips. It's a whole lot on our left shoulder, so do proceed with caution. 2 more moments here. If you did the scissor option, bring your left knee down, your right knee down, your right hand down, and then let's give our little wrists a break again. Kneeling, just shake them out. Then you'll come seated, swing your legs around, step your feet on your mat so that they're hip distance. Bring your hands back behind you, and I'll turn a little bit more sideways so it's clear. Your fingers are facing away from you. And all you'll do is experiment with shifting your hips a bit forward and walking your hands a little bit back. And then you hit a sweet spot. You might feel stretch in your elbows, certainly in your shoulders. I don't want anything to be peaking in your low back, so do make sure that that feels good. And then we're going to have a full minute of silence for you to meditate here in your shoulder stretch. That full minute starts now. Now start to walk your hands in carefully, slowly, and bring yourself into a seated cross-legged position. So let's take some time getting this figured out. You might be better off sitting on one of your blocks or on a cushion from your couch. And I'm going to ask you to cross your right shin in front of your left shin, and instead of it crossing just at the ankles, walk those 2 feet away from each other so it's almost like your ankles are underneath your knees. Propping up on something can make this a whole lot easier and a little bit more specific to opening up in your hips, which is something that I'd like for us to have it do. Now take your arms in front of you like you're going to give someone a hug with your thumbs to the sky, and take your right arm across your body. See if you can hook that right forearm in the crux of your left elbow, and then just gently help it along for a bit of a stretch here. We want to sit up tall, so we've got 2 things happening, probably more than that, but we've got a hip stretch and a shoulder stretch, and then we want to come back to our breath and let our inhales grow us tall and our exhales calm us down and root us down. We'll have another silent meditative moment right here, right now. Now stay as you are and take the back of your right hand to the outside of your left thigh, and then take your left arm up and over. Little side stretch and a little bit of a different release in our shoulder stretch as well. Now we'll bring ourselves upright once again. Lean back, waggle your legs out, and when we cross this time, let it be your left shin in front, and really we're crossing at the shins. We'll pause here for a moment. If you need to prop up on something, go for it. And maybe one side feels really different from the other. Arms in front of you like you're going to embrace someone. And then it's your left arm across your body, and you aim the forearm of your left arm into the crux of your right elbow. And we're trying to keep this left arm straight. It may not agree to do that, but that's the recipe that we're stirring in to the thought here. And we've got a little quiet meditative moment here together. Now you'll just release the back of your left hand to the outside of your right thigh and take your right arm up and over for a little stretch here. Bring yourself upright, lean back, waggle your legs for a moment, and then place your feet on your mat, hip distance, and lie down onto your back. We'll take a twist here. Scoot your hips to the right. Let your knees drop over to the left. You might cross your right knee over your left knee. We come back to center. Uncross your knees if they're crossed, and now scoot your hips to the left. Let your knees drop to the right. Maybe left knee over right knee. And we pause. Now bring yourself back to center. Feet hip distance on your mat. Snuggle your shoulder blades underneath you and turn your palms to face the sky. You might just stay like this, or if it's comfortable, extend one leg and then the other leg straight. Let your feet flop open. You can cover your body, cover your eyes, but it is our 2-minute rest and digest Shavasana final meditation. You're welcome to stay here in your Shavasana final meditation as long as you'd like. If you're ready, give yourself a stretch. Bend your knees carefully into your chest and roll to either side. You'll bring yourself up slowly. Let your head be the last thing to come up. And once we're seated, in any way that's comfortable to you, let's place our hands on our heart. A moment of gratitude. Grateful that we have the health to do this practice, the opportunity to do this practice together. I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for taking this time with me today. I look forward to us doing it again together soon.